Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show here on STV2. The main talking points on tonight's programme: no more slip-ups or the World Cup dream is over, says McGee. Roberts has eye on the last 16 of the Champions League with Celtic. Hearts hold firm on Jamie Walker. Just a few of the points we'll be discussing on tonight's programme. Alan Ruff is alongside me, Peter Martin. I'm delighted to say we have Dunfermline's Kallum Higginbotham with us as our bootroom guest tonight. We'll talk about the Pars and that fantastic start to the season. Top of the table in the Championship. Lots to discuss with Kallum. And of course, the back page headlines this morning. Very similar across the Record and the Sun and the Daily Mail. There it is. Patrick Roberts in the number 7 Celtic shirt and Craig Levine with the maroon and white scarf above his head. I made the mess, now I'll fix it. And there's a little sidebar there on Robert Snodgrass, determined to repay Gordon Strachan for keeping faith with him. The Sun, along similar lines, again with 3 different headlines there, and one linking Celtic with Odsonne Edouard from Paris Saint-Germain in a loan deal. And the Daily Mail, the twins swoop not only Edouard but possibly Jason Denayer going back to Celtic as well, which would be an interesting one. It's well documented, Ruffy, that they are looking at a striker and a centre half as well. So we'll get your thoughts on that in a minute. But all roads lead to Lithuania. Mark McGee's been talking about it and talking about the Lithuanians. It's a big one for us. No more slip-ups, Ruffy.
No, it has to be a better performance than the Hampden one. I mean, obviously we got a goal late on there. That could have been the nail right away. So I think it's a warning we have to take care of. And we saw they are a competent side, a big strong side, you know. But I still think we're good enough to go and beat them. You know, if they come out their shell a wee bit, as you would expect them to do at home, then the gaps could create for some of our players, and I think we'll get chances in this one, and hopefully we can win it.
Yep, the Scotland assistant manager was speaking about the double header, Lithuania first, then Malta, and of course he wasn't for making excuses.
I think we can't afford any more mistakes. Regardless, you know, I think that's the position we're in. There's no hiding from that. You know, I'm not going to sit here and say, well, if we slip up, then they might do this and they might do that. I think we have to assume that we have to win all 4 games and roll our sleeves up starting on Friday night to win the first one. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, refreshing. I think now we're at the business end, Kallum, as far as international football is concerned. Everybody knows now any slip-ups and you're out of the running, not only for winning groups, but for that crucial runners-up spot.
Yeah, absolutely, you know, and for Scotland, they're in a quite a difficult, you know, group. You know, with England in there, and you know, like Mark McGee's just said, that you know they can't afford to have any more slip-ups. You know, and I think it's been a long time since Scotland's been in a major competition. You know, so they'll be going into Friday hoping that they can get that win and hopefully, you know, push on now towards the end of the campaign. Yeah, and
of course the big question is what difficulties will Lithuania pose? Mark McGee was talking about the strength of Lithuania and Scotland. Which team is better?
I don't think so. I think we're better than we were a year ago. I think Lithuania will, you know, they're at home. They've lost consecutive games. They will roll their sleeves up. They've got a couple of players playing in Scotland. It will make them maybe a wee bit more familiar with our players, and you know they'll be playing for pride as much as anything. So I don't think we can underestimate them. But I don't think anything's changed, particularly to say that they have got an awful lot better than they were a year ago, whereas I feel we have. So the advantage, I think, in that respect lies with us.
Do you share that view, Ruffy?
Yeah, I think against good sides, they don't score many goals. They might get 1 here or there. I think we're good enough to get 2 if we set our stall out accordingly. I think we all know that it's got to be a win, so Gordon will have to come up with something. He'll have to come up with the right players. And I think if we go there and score early on, I think we've got a right good chance of winning it. I think we will win it. I'm confident in this one. You know, I think I think the players exactly know what they've got to do. Callum's touched on it. It's going to be a last chance for a lot of them to get to a final, and it's something that they'll miss in the end of their careers. So I think that is what they have to target themselves to do, because it's a massive thing playing in these kind of finals when you're a footballer at that level.
Yep, and just picking up on that, Russell Martin, like so many of the players, all too aware that it is their last chance to reach a major finals.
Some of the older boys, this might be our last chance to qualify for a major tournament, and so we have to put it like that. It's not one last battle cry or anything like that, but it could be. That's the reality of football. It moves really quickly.
When you look back over the home nations, Callum, and you think about some of the great players for England, the golden generation, for Northern Ireland, for Wales, so many great players that never made it to a major finals. I mean, for Scotland, it's 1998. It's a long time.
Yeah, you know, and I think at international level, you know, that's what everyone's dream is, to get to the big competitions. You know, and like you've touched on, some players don't ultimately make it to them competitions. You know, you hear Russell Martin there speaking that this could be the last opportunity for some of them players in that national side. So, you know, I think they need to grab it with both hands, and then they can look back at their careers and say, you know, we managed to get Scotland to a big competition, and something that they'll be very proud of if they can do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about expectation. We always know England are going to be there. It's whether they achieve anything when they're there that seems to be the problem with them. When I was talking about the golden generation, Ruffy, but for us, it just drags on and on. When I think of some of the players, I never thought I'd be talking about, you know, Gordon Durie, Paul Lambert, Colin Hendry. It's all these type of players we're looking back at who are the last players to sample being at France 98.
Yeah, it's a big debating point between modern day footballers. I mean, we all know that the footballers are played very handsomely now, and a lot of them are earning lots and lots of money, and they won't have to look back, you know, financially in their careers. But at the end of the day, when your career finishes, if you're a footballer, you look back on what you've achieved, you know, medals, finals, that kind of thing. And obviously these tournaments come into that kind of category. And if you finish your career with as much money as you like, you would like to think you'd look back and say, I was at these finals, or I scored a goal in that final, and you can look back in your career with a smile on your face.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I know you're going. I know what you're going to say. I know there are some people out there, it won't bother them. They look at their bank balance, but I think if you're a really true footballer yourself, you want something to show for it in the footballing side. I mean, medals and that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I look at Lithuania against Scotland. Malta take on England. I would imagine England would fancy themselves to take a good 5 or 6 off them. Yeah,
you would hope so. You know, I think England need to bounce back after the Scotland game. You know, and to go to Malta and hopefully get a couple of goals. You know, like you said, we qualify for most big competitions. You know, and I believe that we will qualify this time round. You know, so let's go and do the business at Malta.
Yeah, I've got to ask you, when you're looking on at Hampden and thinking, I am going to get pelters in that Dunfermline dressing room, and Lee Griffiths hit the second one?
No, you know, I've been up here now 6 years, so I think most people think I'm Scottish nowadays.
Really?
No, but you know, I was supporting England. You know, but deep down, you know, I wanted Scotland to do well as well. You know, so a draw was probably the best result that I could hope for, and you know, I hope both teams qualify for the competition.
Well, I've got to ask you this, Robbie. What about have a look at the group, and when you see the group table, the reason I'm asking you to look at it is Slovakia take on Slovenia as well. Are we hoping for a draw in that match?
Yeah, I think so. I think obviously if we get a win, it's crucial because obviously after the Malta game, they're our final 2 games, home and away. Yeah, I think you don't want any of them to get maximum points. Try and keep them as close as possible. But I think at the end of the day, it's all about the second place. It's all about getting as many points on the board and then looking at some of the other groups. Yeah,
are you optimistic now? That's the first time I think I can recall, and Callum will be able to record this as well. It's the first time I think I've heard you being optimistic about a Gordon Strachan side in Scotland.
Well, I think we've got to build on good results, and although the England game I personally thought was disappointing, because I think these 2 points that we dropped so late on is going to be so crucial, and I think Gordon and the boys know that as well. If we'd have hung on to that game and won it 2-1, I think we would have just steamrolled every other game. But now there's still that wee bit of doubt, you know, that points on the board might still not be enough. So let's go out with some wins.
Yeah, and you think we'll have 6 points by the close of play on Monday?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, this is magnificent. I mean, honestly, we need to get Kallum back in here on a regular basis. I don't know what's happened to Ruffy. This is real positive stuff. Let's hope it continues as we move into the break with our question. Kallum has been honest enough to admit he's been torture at the quiz questions on the programme, so it's all.
This is the first day. This is the first day as well. It gets the nearest.
Yeah, exactly. Don't build yourself up. If Kallum Higginbotham wins this quiz at the end of the programme, it'll be a huge embarrassment to Ruffy. But let's try it anyway. Join us after the break here on the Football Show. Oh, you were so close, Ruffy, but just not good enough. 1972. Not a bad effort from a man who was born in 1989. Kallum had gone for 1978. Ruffy, you were a year out.
73, yeah, I went for, just a bit unlucky, but I'm getting nearer. That's the progress for you.
Yeah, there was actually, just only due to the fact I was going to say to you, Ruffy, there was actually just one thing that concerned me about that photograph there of Spurs winning the UEFA Cup for the first time. That actually, the photograph was them winning it for the second time. I just thought I'd remind you, just in case it threw you. There are aficionados out there, and our producer was born after Kallum Higginbotham, so he's clearly not clued up on it. But that
so they didn't win the first time.
They did win the first time, but that photograph there was when they won it again through Graham Roberts, and for the life of me, I think the boy's name was Parks, who was the Tottenham goalie.
Did he not come in at the last minute?
Yeah, he came in and I think he saved a penalty, if my memory serves me correct. But then again, 72 is the answer. OK, there's been a lot of activity over the last 24 hours with regards to players coming in and out. There's going to be more activity, I would imagine, before the transfer window shuts and everybody has to go with their squads into the month of September. Rangers still, you know, we expect to come in with a bid for Jamie Walker. I think Hearts will hold firm on this one, Ruffy, even although it might be a financial hit, because Rangers are not going to bid £1 million.
No, but the person that could hit this in the head is Craig Levein. You know, he's obviously in there. You know, is Jamie Walker a player that he says he needs, you know, to get in there as the manager, or does he think the money is worthwhile taking and maybe bringing in somebody else? So Craig Levein is the person that can answer this one. He can come out immediately and go, no, there's no deal, or they'll wait and see what comes in.
Yeah, I think he has basically intimated that he expects players to leave Tynecastle, but he doesn't expect Jamie Walker to be one of them. I mean, you can't get any more succinct than that.
Yeah, but I think that's good enough. I think, although Anne Budge in our interview was saying that she doesn't think there's so many supporters against Craig, you know, is what some people are trying to make out. But certainly this kind of decision of keeping a player like that at the club would sway some of the supporters on his side. Yeah,
well, I mean, it is a split, but I think even Anne Budge, the owner, accepts that you're never going to please everyone.
It wouldn't matter who was sitting here. There's no way all of the fans would be happy. I've said before, I don't do social media, but I don't think you have to realise that there is mixed views. And I would simply say, you know, look at the track record, both historically that Craig's had. Look at what we've achieved in the last 3 years, and watch this space. I've already had quite a number of emails and texts from supporters saying, good choice, well done, didn't expect it, or brave choice, or whatever. So it wouldn't matter who was sitting here, actually. I don't think
I
please
believe
everybody.
that. I mean, there's no way. I mean, we tried Jose Mourinho, but it wasn't available, you know. So.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to go on the after-dinner circuit, to be honest with you, Ruffy, but nevertheless, I mean, she's got a point, though. I mean, a lot of people are maybe tarnishing him with the Scotland debacle and other things, but I still think they should look at, he had a good record at Hearts.
I think he's a good manager. You know, he was that good a manager. We gave him the Scotland job, and that's why, you know, the success rate he had was very good. And I don't even hold that debacle of not playing any strikers away back then, because we've seen now the modern day teams don't play with strikers. Get it? Chelsea, whoever. I know.
No, come on.
There was strikers on the park that night. You know, okay. And
Naismith didn't play in a striking role.
Yeah, but the thing about it is they scored late on. If Scotland had seen that game out, I think he would have been seen as somebody who's looking into the future before everybody else.
No, let's not rewrite history.
Well, that's an opinion.
I know, but clubs don't play with strikers when you've got Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets, Pedro, you name it. Then you can say, oh, listen, fire on. You don't need to play with a striker. These guys can torment you the best of times. I think that sometimes is the problem. And I think he should be given a chance. I think he should... You know, he should be allowed to get on. I can understand why they're going from experience. What's the buzz like among the Dunfermline to Levine come in? Was there any kind of a surprise element among your teammates?
No, I wouldn't say it was a surprise. You know, I think it's been well documented in the media throughout the last couple of years that people have thought Levine's, you know, been, what would you say?
Calling the shots.
Calling the shots. That's the word I'm looking for. You know, and now he's in the hot seat. Then, you know, he's out there, he's at the front, and if it goes wrong, then it's him that's going to take the blame now. It's not going to be, you know, the managers that have been before. You know, so he's took the reins, and hopefully he can, you know, do a good job.
Yeah, I mean, I posed this question yesterday, Ruffy. Obviously, you don't get to see the entire conversation of Anne Budge, but she says that you know, if it doesn't go according to plan, he still has his director of football job.
I think it's really important to remember that Craig continues as a director of the club. And, you know, from that perspective, a lot of what we talk about is the direction that the club is moving in, and that won't change.
Yeah, full marks to him. He can juggle the two jobs. I do think if he gets one job wrong, the other one will fall as well.
I think it'll be dependent who's in charge. You know, if Anne Budge is going to be there. They seem very close together. They seem to be going down the same road. If she was to step aside and other people were to come in, then they might have different ideas.
I know that there's a suggestion that Anne Budge steps aside and then the fans come in and take over. I don't see Anne Budge stepping away in the next 5 years.
Well, that would be her decision. You know, she said to everybody that she might, once she's done what she's went in to do, which she has done. You know, I don't think she's... not come up with anything that she said she was going to do. I think she's done very, very well. She's now on one of the boards, isn't she?
Yeah,
she's one on the SPFL boards, which will be good for them as well. But no, I think everything's going well just now. I think all they need now is results. But obviously these games that are away from home are going to be a bit of a burden.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course there is a role for John Daly, according to Craig Levine.
I think what's really important to get across today is that this moment in time, the club needed stability. And Anne mentioned that John, as a young coach, it was very difficult for anybody to face the amount of away games that we've got. And even our so-called home games are at Murrayfield. So, you know, it's been a long time, it's in November before we're actually playing here. And as you know, playing here is a huge advantage for us. You know, so that was very difficult to foist that upon a young coach. So, you know, overall, yeah, John's contribution has been excellent, and I think he'll go on to be a wonderful manager in the future.
Okay, so he's got a chance to learn from Craig Levein. He's got a chance to just watch and see how it's done. I can understand that process.
Yeah, I think that's a great move for John Daly. I think he's come in and done a good job and standing side by side by Craig. He'll learn a lot. I was just wondering who it is it's going to be in the stand now to pass down the notes. Will that stop?
Yeah, that's you just being a noise-up hibby, to be honest with you. I'm not going to respond to that. Although one thing I am delighted is that Austin McPhee still stays there, because I think he's a talented boy. He's got a lot to offer.
Yeah, I think we're hearing more and more now that he's one of these guys at a club that players really appreciate when he does one-to-ones. Kallum will probably know better rather than a manager, you know, doing it in bulk. He actually takes players aside, has a wee chat with them, good things, bad things, gets their head right for the games, and I think that's good. There's an individual there taking it so personal.
Yep. The other main news from yesterday was, of course, the number 7 at Celtic. It's now occupied by, eventually, Patrick Robertson. He's delighted to be back at Celtic.
Everyone knows my feelings on the club and how we performed last year, and I feel this team at the moment is a tremendous group of lads and a tremendous group of players. So I thought, for me, is the best place to develop is here, and especially with the manager and the coaches here that give me the platform to do that. So that was behind my thinking. Celtic wanted to sign me permanently, and City, being as they are, me being that they're my parent club, they didn't want to sell me. So from that point of view, obviously it's good for me that obviously Pep and the team there obviously want to still keep me involved, which is good for me, and also let me come here to carry on my development with the manager and the team is good as well. So they're full interest in me, and which is good for me personally.
So you're keen to see if he's going to be a starter, Ruffy, and of course they still need those other 2 players.
Yeah, they certainly do. Like there is no doubt the boy's absolutely quality. We saw it when he was up here. You know, he can turn a game just by one bit of magic, and that's what he did in a lot of the games that he came on. Not my biggest problem with it is, you know, if I was James Forrest, you know, I'd be saying to myself, well, where does that put me? You know, where does that put me in the scale of things? You know, because last time he was here, it seemed to be James Forrest started the games, you know, because he's defensively better than Roberts, and then Roberts would come on and turn the game. So, but I think James Forrest must be having a word by saying, where do I stand in this whole situation?
Okay, after the break, we're going to switch our attention to Kallum Higginbotham's team, Dunfermline. They're at the top of the championship. We'll get his thoughts on this great start to the season. I always remember that Scottish Cup final. There was a major blunder by Gilles Rousset, and it sticks in my mind, Ruffy. And of course, it's a bad day for Gordon Durie when he scores a hat-trick and Brian Laudrup is the main man.
There's a fantastic Rangers side.
Oh.
You know, Paul Gascoigne, Lambert, you know, they were just steamrolling everybody, and that was a big result.
Yep, absolutely sensational. Brian Laudrup at his absolute best. Okay, it's all things Dunfermline. In this part of the programme, I'm delighted Kallum is with us because, I mean, sum up the start to the season for you guys.
It's been obviously fantastic, you know, to be at the top of the table. You know, it's only early on in the season and we're not going to get carried away, but you know, that was a big thing we talked about in pre-season, was the way we started the season. You know, I think last season that let us down. To get into the playoffs was our start of the season, so you know, to turn it around this year and have the start that we've had, not only in the league but also in the Betfred Cup. You know, getting through the group stage was a massive plus, and it gave us that confidence and to kick on in the league, and you know, we're just buzzing with confidence at the minute, and long may that continue.
Yeah, I always think it's good to have a yin and a yang, Ruffy, and by that I mean, you know, you've got Alan Johnson, who's not the type of guy who's, extrovert. He just likes to keep it nice and calm. And then you've got Sandy at the other end.
Yeah, I'm sure Sandy makes his voice heard when needed, but bags of experience, been at a lot of clubs, knows what it's all about, and I'm sure he's the same as, put an arm around somebody and show them where they're going wrong or whatever. But no, it's always good to have that kind of person in the background.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Callum, you won't remember, but the good thing about having the two of them, their pedigree was superb. I mean, Alan Johnson was a fantastic player, great skill, scored a hat-trick, Ruffy, as you'll remember, at Ibrox for Hearts. But Sandy as well, just that, I think they're thinning the ground nowadays, Ruffy. Strikers who can hold that ball in and lay it off. His partnership with Robbo was, I thought he was a great player.
Yeah, I mean, his goals speak, just as you've saying there, it didn't matter where he went, he scored goals. You're right, he was a target man, and 9 times out of 10 he had somebody a bit of foil to play off of him. But he scored a lot of goals himself, without relying on anybody else, and I think his record, if you get a chance to see it, is very good. Yeah,
and are they different in style?
I think you pretty much summed them up. When you were speaking, the gaffer is quiet, but when he needs to be heard, he'll be heard. And Sandy's, like you said, the opposite end of the scale. He can lose his temper now and then, especially when I'm giving it him in training for his refereeing decisions. He likes to have a go back at me, but no, two fantastic coaches. Both of them that I'm relishing playing under. Really enjoying my football at the minute, and they've got massive confidence in me, and it's only good when the manager and the assistant managers got confidence in you as a player. Well,
I was just about to ask you that question, because how important is that? I mean, we have on countless occasions watched you playing in your days at Partick Thistle as well, and at Motherwell. We always thought, if you're in the zone, you're a game changer. How important is it for you to have that settled feel of people with confidence in you?
Absolutely, and no matter what player, I believe in football, confidence is a massive part of it. Feeling loved, feeling welcome at the club. Because I've been at clubs where, I've felt an outsider almost. You're in the team, you're out the team, don't matter what you do. One minute you're in the team, next minute you're out, whereas under the gaffer at Dunfermline, if you're playing well, you're going to be playing the next week. And if you're not playing that well, you'll always look back at the last couple of weeks and, stand by you. I think that's what's been the biggest difference at Dunfermline at the minute. And that's showing in my performances at the minute.
It's always been regarded as a big club with a great history in Scottish football. Is it too early to expect you guys to be there at the end, or is there a belief there that you guys could win this division?
Me personally, and I can only speak for myself. I believe that we will be there come the end of the season. I know what's in the dressing room. I train with the people that's in the dressing room every single day, and if you look throughout our squad, we've got top quality players that have played at high levels in football. So hopefully if we can keep all the players injury free and suspension free, then we'll have a right good chance this year. But it's not going to be easy, and like you said, we're only four games into the season, so we're not going to be getting carried away saying we're going to walk the league. We just need to keep doing what we're doing on a weekly basis, and then see where it takes us come the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, here are the results in the league so far. Overall, it's 8 wins, 1 draw and 1 defeat. But, I mean, there are a few impressive results. Which game pleased you the most, where you feel as if the side really clicked?
Obviously, the Inverness game, to bounce back. Everyone thought we was going to go to Livingston and steamroller them, but they was fantastic that day. And then we went to Rangers and got hammered 6-0. So the confidence was quite low after that game, and to bounce back with a 5-1 victory at home against Inverness, who everyone had touted as title contenders. It really gives us that confidence and to go on and kickstart our season. And if you look at the results there, that's what it's done.
Yeah, it is early days, as you mentioned there. Here's the championship table and how it looks, Callum. Where do you think the sustained threat is going to be for the top 4 places?
Definitely St Mirren, Dundee United. I think Falkirk will be up there come the end of the season. when you look at the teams though in the division, there's no easy games. You know, so we know every game that we play is going to be a tough game, and we just got to keep doing what we're doing, and you know, keep approaching every game like we've been approaching the last 4 games, and I think we'll be all right.
Yeah, I looked at the squad list, Ruffy, and Kallum mentioned earlier in the programme there are goals in this side. I mean, Nicky Clark can score goals, Kallum can chip in with the odd special goal as well, but Joe Cardle, he's on fire.
Yeah, I think it's good from a spectator's point of view for a team to have the likes of Kallum and Cargill in the team. 2 guys who are going to give you a wee bit special, a wee bit something different for the other players. And if you're a spectator, that's what you want to go and see. You want to see something a wee bit spectacular, and it's good that the 2 of them are obviously getting a run and scoring goals.
Yeah, I mean, talk us through Cardle. I can remember watching him regularly as a boy. You know, there are times where he was unplayable and you thought he's going to go to another level.
No, you know, and I think you're seeing what I see in training every day. You know, if his confidence is up, then like you touched on, he's unplayable. You know, I give him special mention as well because of the season that he had last year. In and out of the team, not really playing much from Christmas, and then bounce back the way he has this season. You know, he must have worked really hard in the off season and then come back, and you know, he's ignited our season this year. You know, the goal at Tynecastle in the Betfred Cup sticks out in my memory. It was a fantastic piece of skill, and you know, he's got 8 goals already, and we're not even out of August yet. So you know, hopefully he can keep that performance level up, and he'll be a massive asset for us this season. I
was going to say, Peter's briefly touched on obviously the history of the club. Do the players there, do you get a feeling, you know, where you're sitting, that the supporters have an expectation, they want to be back in the big time, you know, and the players have got to buy into that?
Yeah, you know, and I believe at the minute the club, the way it's going, you know, we're all pulling in the same direction. The fans, you know, we get great numbers, fan-wise, travelling home and away. You know, and I feel like there's that bond there between the fans and the players. You know, and it's something feels different this year compared to last season. You know, and Peter touched on it. It's a massive club, and a club that I believe has underachieved over the last couple of seasons. You know, and hopefully now we can progress the club and get them back into the top league where I believe they deserve to be. Yeah,
and there are a number of players that we've mentioned, goal scorers. I mean, I was amazed you actually got Andy Ryan as well. I mean, and he's fighting to get into your team.
That's what I'm saying. You know, if you look at the bench on Saturday, we had Nicky Clark on the bench, David Upkirk, Andy Ryan, as you touched on. You know, so we know if you're in the starting 11 and you're not performing well, then you know there's top quality people on the bench that'll come in and take your place. So, you know, I think that competition for places as well has really, you know, pushed people on, making them perform to the highest ability that they can, and you know, that's only good for everyone at the club at the minute. Like I say, it's a brilliant place to be at the minute. Everyone's buzzing with confidence, and you know, winning games breeds confidence, and hopefully we can just keep doing that.
Yeah, just touching on that, to be fair to him, Gordon Smith mentioned that Dunfermline will be the dark horses. I think I've plumped for Dundee United. I'm not going to be two-faced about it. Well, he's here. You are, you know, regularly two-faced, Ruffy. Who did you go for?
Yeah, I went for Falkirk, having a kiss of death, I think. But I think they've still got players good enough. You know, they're only 4 games into it. I think they'll get their act together and move up. But no, I think this league, I mean, because Celtic 9 times out of 10 are running away with the big league, I think this division is the most exciting. It was the most exciting last year. I don't think there's a runaway this year, you know, which sort of killed it a wee bit, but I think there will be 4 teams right till the end, and I don't think there'll be many points between them.
Yep, it's going to be an exciting championship. You can give us your thoughts on who you think is going to win in the championship at the end of the season. At Peter and Ruffy on Twitter, facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy. We'll hear more from Kallum Higginbotham after this break. Here's our final question to see if one of these guys can get one right. How you never get that, Ruffy, I will never know. You're a tennis aficionado. Andy Murray.
He's only missed it by a year.
Yeah, it was close. Callum almost nailed it. In fact, he would have gone for 2012 as well. So, to be perfectly honest with you, I've got to give him it on a technicality. Just a narrow win. Listen, at this part, you posed a really good question, which I think is relevant to the transfers. There are some people who won't get their big move. There are some people who will be happy just to sit and not feature. I wonder what's more important these days, Callum, to professional footballers. Is it actually playing the football as much as it is just making sure that you're getting a weekly wage?
Well, you know, we touched on it in the break. It depends what scale of wages you're talking about. You know, if you're at the high end of the English Premier League, you know, people are happy to sit on the 100, 150 grand a week contracts. You know, when it's players like myself in Scotland, you know, you just want to be playing football. You know, we're not earning Wayne Rooney's sort of wages. You know, so it's important that, you know, you're playing the game that you love. You know, money is nice, don't get me wrong. You know, but it's all about playing for me. Ask me that if I was on 150 grand a week, it could be different. You know what I mean? So. Depends what scale you're looking at. Yeah.
So basically, what you're telling me is, if it was Higginbotham at Chelsea and you weren't happy, you'd just stay in South America until the deal was concluded. In a nutshell, because he also mentioned a guy that I'm wondering what's happened to Diego Costa. Where's he going? What's he doing?
Yeah, and I think Sanchez comes into that category as well. You know, he obviously looks as if he's out of the picture at Arsenal, but it doesn't look as if the clubs are going to agree on a fee for him, so he could be put out of it as well. But no, I think it's encouraging that there are players like Callum who want to play. You know, obviously he's right in what he's saying. If you could get the best of both worlds, that would be the ideal scenario. But I think at the end of the day, most players want to play, because you'll find out when you're not playing, you know, what you're missing. You're missing everything that goes. You're taking the money out of the equation. You're missing all the banter with your mates coming into training in the morning. You're missing the joy of winning, you know, and what that brings with your teammates again and the supporters. So yeah, at the end of the day, you want a healthy bank balance. But I think it's such a short career. You want to play as many games as possible.
Yeah, I mean, you make it sound so convincing there, Ruffy. I mean, Diego Costa's probably sitting in South America right now going, 2 pina coladas, there's no phone call, I'll just crack on. I'm not getting my move to Atletico Madrid, so there you are. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting dilemma, but there are players, and the one player that sticks in my mind about this and has the same ethos as yourself, Callum, is the PFA chairman, John Rankin, because John basically was in a situation where he thought to himself, I'm going to be a bit part player, I'm at the tail end of my career, I want to go and play somewhere, I want to go and play regularly, you know, I don't want to sit out the last year of my professional career not kicking a ball regularly.
I mean, when you've been in the game long enough, and as you said, you get everything that I've just explained to you, what you get out of the game. It's something that is sadly missed when it gets taken away from you. I appreciate where Stephen McManus was coming from when Stephen was in. He's looking at from the injury side. There's no way you want to continue to play if later on in life it's going to affect you. You know, your health. That's a decision that's a no-brainer. But people have been in the game for a long, long time. They just want to play and play and play. Yeah,
well, you've had your trials and tribulations. You're 28 years of age. I mean, are you at that point in your mind where you think, I'm going to keep as fit as I can and play as long as I can?
Yeah, you know, like Ruffy's touched on there, you know, when you're at the 20-year-old, you know, you never think it's going to finish. You know, the quicker you start getting towards 30 years of age, you know it's around the corner. You know, but throughout my career, I've always just wanted to play. You know, I've never wanted to be sat on the bench and coming on and picking up a wage. That's just not in my makeup. So, you know, that's probably a reason why I've had so many clubs, because I've always looked to go and get first team football. You know, and long may that continue for as long as possible as well. You know, touch wood, I've not really had any serious injuries. You know, and I'm quite a fit boy as well, so, you know, I just need to keep doing what I'm doing, and hopefully I can stay clear of the injuries and last as long as I can, because, you know, like Ruffy said, once that's taken away from me, then, you know, I don't really know what I would do with my life.
Yeah, that's another thing that I mean, do you have in the back of your mind that that sense of, I need to think about something I'm going to do? Will it be coaching? Will it be, you know, is it something that hovers there at the moment, or do you think, no, I'm going to have to think about that at 30, 31?
Yeah, it's not something I've given a serious thought to, which, you know, we had the PFA in yesterday at the club, and they was talking about, you know, it's time to start thinking about what you're going to do after football. You know, but you always just put it to the back of your mind. I think I'll think again in 6 months' time. But, you know, I'm getting older, and, you know, it's not going to last forever. Whether I want to do coaching, I don't know. Maybe that's something that I'll think about later on. But if I was to choose tomorrow, what I would want to do, it'd be probably, you know, go and get a trade and get out there working, rather than being a coach. But, you know, that could change in the years to come. Yeah,
absolutely. Listen, there are a number of people who are just thinking about where they're actually going to be playing football. Nottingham Forest, just talking about some of these deals north and south of the border. Ben Hennigan, Blackburn are interested in him. Nottingham Forest back in with a second bid for John McGinn, Ruffy. It's getting to the critical end now where if the player moves suddenly, you know, these Scottish clubs and these Scottish managers are going to have to make a last dash to try and get somebody to compensate the loss of a key player.
Yeah, I think Neil Lennon hit it in the head last week. When I mean, the thing about it is these English clubs are offering money that's not even 50% near, you know, what their value is. You know, I think Neil Lennon touched it in the head. The worst thing about this whole scenario is if it doesn't go through, he's got a player he's got to deal with who's going to be a wee bit upset. Maybe the boy wanted to go and play down south, and now it's not happening. So now he's got a player within his group who's maybe taking his eye off the ball, and that's what you would expect with that kind of thing happening. But that's what happens when these clubs come in and offer ridiculous amounts of money when they should be paying the going price.
Yeah, well, and talking about ridiculous amounts of money, I mean, there are so many players now, there's no point in moaning about it anymore. It's just, the whole market is full of madness. It's as simple as that. I mean, Sanchez, clearly Man City want him. Ian McGarry told us on Friday's show there will be a bid coming in from Man City. It's been delivered at 50 million. It might take 60 to eventually Arsene Wenger goes, OK, you can have him. Then he's sitting in a situation where the Gunners fans are looking and going, well, we've lost a star man. Who are you bringing in?
Yeah, you know, and like you touched on, it's so close to the transfer window closing. You know, for Arsenal to lose arguably the best player to, you know, title rivals, it's just total madness. You know, he's also losing Oxlade-Chamberlain by the looks of things. You know, so it's not looking pretty at Arsenal at the minute. You know, for them to then go and try and replace Sanchez, they're going to have to then pay an exceptional amount of money to bring someone in as the same quality. So, you know, it's not looking good for Arsenal.
Yeah, and you touched on that point there, Ruffy, that's just so unusual. Oxlade-Chamberlain, deal agreed between Chelsea and Arsenal, and he doesn't want to go there. He wants to go to Liverpool, where they're talking at the moment. It's very rare you find that. I mean, in 70s and 80s, understandable, go to Liverpool, you're playing with top-draw players.
Yeah, but I think the situation with him is he wants to go somewhere, as Kallum says, he wants to be playing. You know, he doesn't want to be a player who's on a rotation system or playing a position he doesn't feel comfortable that they want him to play, and he wants to go there and be at a club and obviously try and win things. And I think that's encouraging from that point of view, that he wants to play.
One that I can't get my head around, Ruffy, is because I haven't seen him turn games, grab the game by the scruff of the neck and do it the way Rooney used to do in the early days at Everton, is Ross Barkley. You know, Chelsea are sniffing around him, Chelsea are sniffing around Drinkwater. I can understand Drinkwater more. Barkley's a young guy. I haven't seen, you know, regular flashes of genius from him.
I think we saw it a couple of years ago, the runs he was making for midfield. He had a lot of power in his runs, you know, he was scoring terrific goals. But I think he's just a player who needs another club. I think he's a player who needs another environment, different people run about him. Maybe it is that arm around your shoulder to tell you how good you are. But I think he just needs a change.
Yep. Okay. Callum, I wish you well for the rest of the season. I mean, we've got to get you in before the end of the season again, because whatever you've done, you've made him the most positive he's ever been on the show. Whether he's going to change and tip Dunfermline to win the championship is another matter, but we certainly hope you're still in the mix at the end of it, because it's just a fabulous championship, Ruffy.
Yeah, and I think, as I said earlier, I think we've all said it, that Dunfermline are a massive club, and I think if we keep talking about what would a club for the First Division bring to the big division, and Dunfermline is one of these clubs. You know, if Dunfermline got promoted with the stadium that they've got, I think you'd be talking a good 15,000 supporters. You know, they had it before, and it's an area that could be just brought back into the winning mentality. Yep.
Well, we wish you well for the rest of the season. Join us tomorrow on the programme. Hugh MacDonald of the Daily Mail will be with us. We're going to look ahead to Lithuania against Scotland in depth. Probably pick our starting 11, get it woefully wrong, but we're going to have a stab at it anyway. Thanks to Kallum Higginbotham from Dunfermline. We wish him and the boys there all the best for the rest of the season. From Ruffy and myself, thanks for watching. Good night.